What's up? Hey, it is video number 2 or automation number 2 out of 101 automations for small businesses. This is number 2, and it's actually, in a way, a continuation of the first video, and that is, it has more to do with lead generation, but it also has to do with the components of how do you put all these things together to make them work. And specifically, the use case is this. I have a good friend. He said, hey, Brent, he knows that, he uses CRMX, and he knows that I'll help him on the side as well because we're good buddies that way. And he said, hey, can you take a look at my 5-day challenge funnel? I don't understand how it all works together, but he also wants to, besides hiring it out to somebody else, he wants to understand how it works and be able to build, which I think is a smart idea. And he said, how does this all work? I know I need a form, I need a funnel, and I need some kind of automation workflow, but I don't understand how they bolt together. So this will answer that. I'm going to walk you through an example. I'm going to use a webinar funnel because that's the template I have up and I could find fastest for you. And I'll walk you through what's needed, and I'll show you how they're all connected and how you can automate the entire process. What's really cool, why you would want to do this, is 1, get leads. 2, automate that process of collecting leads. 3, automate the goodwill of delivering goodwill and nurturing those leads into a sales mechanism of some sort, meaning you're going to pitch something afterwards, and they are more likely to buy from you when they know, like, and trust you. This is a campaign that will do that, but I'm just going to show you the automation behind it. So understand that's the why. Now this is the how. Here we go. Ready? So first of all, actually, let me show you the continuation. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, continuation, go to video 1, and you'll see that I walk you through the basics of capturing a lead. Like, what does it look like to capture a lead? And you can see we're doing these 101 automations here. I'm just zooming in to this form where it's like capture a lead. Great, but let me show you now a specific campaign, and that's what we're going to dive into. Let me grab this here. I'm going to slide this over like this, so you can I like showing you how, the flow over here and kind of what the details are, to remind you the basics on the right, because it gets complicated on the left, because I'm showing you advanced stuff, but not just advanced stuff, it's a lot of moving pieces. It's actually really easy once you understand the moving pieces, but like anything, when it's new, it feels overwhelming. I get that. So let me get my little floating head down here and make it smaller. Okay, so here's what I've got. On the left is a webinar funnel. I'm going to walk you through. This is what it looks like on the surface when somebody registers for a webinar. The purpose of this webinar, it's free. I want you to register and /opt-in, and then after that, I want you to attend. That's another goal that I want you to do. And then after that, I want you to buy. Okay, and because of that, I have those 3 goals: register, attend, buy. I'm going to build 3 different workflows that meet those criteria, or push or pull the prospects into those goals. Okay, so there's the first thing to understand is what am I trying to do? Well, I have a free webinar to educate, to get them to attend, then to buy. Okay, so here we are. Now that means, by the way, it's the same thing as over here. I had to create a form so they could fill it out. It's on a website of some sort, right? Just like this. That's what I mean, a continuation of last video. There's some kind of form submitted. It creates a contact. It can tag them. It can make a note, and whatever else you want to do. I'm just diving deeper. Cool? Here's how it's built inside of CRMX. Let me just show you on the surface of what we're doing. So I built a landing page under the funnel feature. I'll show you that in a second. Here's a landing page to register for a webinar. I click on this button. It has a pop-up. Well, this pop-up has an element that's dragged onto it. I'll show you how. And it has a form. That's the first one. I need to build a form then. Before I go and build the page, I need a form, because otherwise, how am I supposed to add the form here if I don't have it built already? So I'll start with the form. What are they filling out? Then I'll build this actual page. Then I'll build the workflow, and then I'll connect them all together. Good? So that's all I'm trying to do right now. Now let me show you the back end of things. Here's the form builder. I got here by going into websites and funnels, or funnels and websites and forms. So I'm not going to go into a tutorial on that, but just know that's how I got here, and I'm building, and I said new form, and I built one. I'll show you that in a second. Then I went to funnels and websites, and went under funnels. I built a funnel. This is a past funnel. As you can see, this is back in March of this year. I'm recording this in September. This is a funnel, and I actually built tons of pages. Now this is more or less advanced. You don't have to do all these, but if you're up to it, you could use this as a template and build your own webinar funnel. Okay, I love webinar funnels, by the way. They're perfect for education and selling all in one. Okay, and then after that, I built the form. Remember, built the form. Then I built a landing page for opt-in. I had to put the form on that page. Then I had to build some workflows. This is the third component over on the right that says when they do these things, which is called a trigger. When this happens, that's a trigger. Then do this. Those are the actions. Workflows are built with triggers and actions. So let's put it together. Ready? So come in, build the form. All I did was there was a blank form. These are little elements you can drag out. I'm not going to go through an exact tutorial. Just know this is how simple it was. I grabbed the first name and dragged it out here. I dragged the email. I found the email, dragged it out here. I found the phone number and I dragged it out here. I decided those are the three things I want to collect so I can follow up with them and get them to attend by texting them and emailing them. Don't forget the webinar. So they registered is the goal. This is the trigger. The form becomes the trigger. And now I need to embed this on a page. Well, which page? I had to go build that landing page. So I built this landing page. I used the template myself. And now we customize ours pretty well, but you could use this as a template. And that's what this is. So I built this page, and this is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go into how to build a landing page. That could be another tutorial, but essentially it's just drag and drop some things, write the copy. I used AI, right? I came up with my own idea, right? Like, here's what I want to teach. Here's what I want to educate on. Here's my pitch at the end of my webinar. But I used AI to help write the copy to advertise this webinar and to get and compel people to come and attend, register, and watch the webinar, right? So it's not hard. I'm using tools that all of us have access to. I am not a programmer. I just know which tools to use and how to use them, okay? So there's this. I have the page. I embedded that same form. See, this is the form that you saw right here. Yes, like all I did was choose on the form. And let me show you on that. Let me show you how that is built. I'm going to go to the edit. It's pretty simple. I just hit edit. I'm not going to show you the whole page build here, but I will show you how the form gets there. Now, it does not look like this, obviously, on the website. This is just when I'm building, and I have my, see how there's about how it looks there. So check it out. So right here, if I click on this, this is a button element, but I can say under the button, in this case, I chose to say open button actions. If I scroll down, I click on the button itself. And then over here on the right, it says button. Under the general, there's three options here, but under general, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see button actions. What do you want to do with this thing? And there's several things you can do, but I want to open the pop-up element. Well, every page has a pop-up function. Where's that at? Okay, well, that's up here. So I want to open a pop-up. Well, which pop-up? Right here, if you go to pop-up settings, it pops up what it will look like. And this is just kind of like I just drag and drop this little plus sign. I can drag and drop a header onto that thing. I can do all that. So watch what I do here. Pop-up settings, and I say, I'm say this form. I drag the form out on it, onto the page, that is. And then from here, this is the form I've already built. Remember step 1, I built the form right here. Step 2 was add the form here. So when I add the form element, because see, I can hit the plus sign and say form, add the form. You do not have any forms yet. Oh, select the form. So in this case, I'm just going to choose a whole different form so you see it. So see, here's the form that I just added, this one right here. So that's how it got here. But remember, the form's the trigger, so now I have the trigger on the landing page. You see how those bolt together? So there's goal number 1 I wanted to show you. How do I get a page and a form, and how do they tie together? I just showed you, okay? That's it. Hit save and publish, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to train on that part. Those are the fundamentals that you'll want to learn. Okay, so I'm not going to save the changes to that. So now I have a form. I've put it on a landing page. That's how I got it. It's a form pop-up in this case with a button. Button action, form pop-up. Form is embedded on that pop-up. Awesome. Now what? When they hit submit, guess what? I built another page that says, thank you. Your spot is reserved. But there's nothing I need to do here. I build, this was on, I don't want to make this a training about webinars and which pages you need and what you should say on a webinar. Just understand that, like in my friend's example, he's doing a 5-day challenge. It's the same thing. Opt in for the 5-day challenge. thank you for opting in for the 5-day challenge. Here's the details to confirm. And then the webinar page is like when it goes live. And so in this case, a webinar or a 5-day challenge is parallel to this. It's like, cool, day 1 of the 5-day challenge would be this page, and they watch it. And then I would just clone this page, clone funnel step, and clone it to this one, and just say, and then name that one day 2, and and then change the copy to day 2, and then day 3, day 4, day 5, right? So I would just have more pages that I built out. And then at some point I'm selling inside of that webinar or challenge in their example, and I would have them go to a purchase page. Where do they buy my offer? I would have to build that page, and I have them go there and they buy. And then I want a thank you page to say purchase confirmed. And then these, it doesn't have to go in this order. I just put these at the bottom saying, hey, what about those who don't watch or don't attend? Let's send or don't buy. I want them to offer a replay. I could send them to this page and do a offer replay, and it has the same button to buy the exclusive offer, which would take them back to this purchase page. And then you might have a replay expired to make sure there is true scarcity and you're not just full of BS saying, hey, this page comes down on XYZ date. And which I like doing. I think that's a smart thing to make sure people understand you can't just get this anytime. You have to watch it in this window of time. So that's what these pages are for. You don't have to do that. But you see how all I'm doing is thinking through, okay, I have an opt-in. I want to thank them. Then I want them to watch it. Then I want them to purchase. Hey, if they do purchase, where do I take them? To a thank you page. Hey, if I want to offer a replay page, I can build that into the funnel as well, etc. Okay? So the point is that's where all my pages are built. I have let's go back to the basics of opt-in and automate the opt-in, what happens after opt-in. Remember over here, we need a workflow. Let me show you which workflows I built for this webinar, and it goes the same for a 5-day challenge or any other kind of mechanism that you have them opt in and you educate them and nurture them, okay? So again, I've already finished this one. Here's the workflow. So guess how workflows work? I've already hinted it. I've already said it. Let me show you visually. So I'm going to build several workflows and bolt them together. I put them into a folder for this webinar, and so I could organize them. And what I did was say, I called it an outreach. You can call it whatever you want. I named it this, and I said, create new workflow. I want to send invites or outreach out to my list and anyone else, and I want to get them, the people that I can reach out on my list, I want to invite them to the webinar. Now I have a very specific niche I'm inviting them to, or a list. I'm not inviting everybody necessarily on my list, but I invited, as you can see, 638 people got the invite, okay? So what does that look like? I'm not going to go entirely over this because this is less important for this video's purpose, but I said, here's the start date of my event. Wait until this date to start the invite sequence, and I sent an email, wait, sent another email, wait, sent another email, then sent a text, then waited, then sent an email. See how many automations I could do? Wait till this date, send an email, and send a text. That was all to just get them to attend, okay? That was it. It takes that many promotions just to get people to pay attention with all the advertising in their way and other emails and stuff that they get. So that's one job, was to get them to land here on this page. That workflow I just showed you invited them to this page. My hope, my goal is, please click this button and fill out this form. So what happens when they do that? Well, they're going to come to the next workflow that triggers this. So remember, a trigger is this. So like confirmation, webinar confirmation, and reminders. We had 144 people opt in for this, not attend, just opt in. Attendance was probably half or a little less than half. It was like 40%, okay? So if I'm remembering right, that's not that important right now. But here's what that workflow looks like. Now here's where it ties together. Pay attention, please. Here's the landing page. They fill out this form. This is a trigger inside of a workflow. The form is. I have to tell it that though. So when I created this workflow, I said new workflow, and I said add new trigger before this existed right here. I said add new trigger here, right? So let me get a little drawing tool up here. So this trigger right here is, I built it, okay? And then I said, okay, I want to tag them that they attended, add a note that they registered, or not attended, but it registered for it, add a note. And then I want to remove them from the invite workflow so they don't get any more invites. I don't, because they've already registered. Wait for a set date, then confirm, or actually not wait, this is just set the date for the webinar, but confirm with an email, and then so on. So what I did here was, all this is doing is confirm, email, like congrats, you're registered, congrats, you're registered, text message, wait 24 hours before this set date to also remind them with a text and an email. 3 hours before the webinar start, just send an email. 1 hour before, send a text and an email, or email text. 5 minutes before, send an email and a text. Now, I know better. I've been doing webinars for over a decade. This is how much it takes to get somebody to attend a damn webinar. Now, depending on what your opt-in mechanism is, by the way, for my friend's example, a 5-day challenge, you're going to have to do the same thing. Remind them, like, especially on day 1, remind them a lot. Like, boom, boom. Now, day 2, 3, 4, 5, you might just remind them once, maybe twice that day with an email and or a text, okay? But at first, you're just trying to get their attention, because just because they registered, you know how this goes. We all registered. Like, think through it and have empathy for the outside. Like, oh, yeah, I register for stuff all the time that's free and don't attend. And so you need to remind people a lot. So that's how this works, okay? That's what this is for. But here's the trigger. You see that? Let me show you how this ties together. Guess what I did? I said add new trigger. It showed up here. I'll show you how I got to these settings. So what I did here was I chose the trigger called form submitted, and then I added a filter because I don't want any form. I want a specific form that I built, which was 3/28/24. I named it this. I named it March 28, 24 webinar opt-in form. I named it that so I could look for it and just specify. So if I looked, or if I built this again, pretend this trigger's not here, I'm gonna say add new trigger. I know to just type in the word form. Yep, this is the one, form submitted, but I'm not done. Again, this would be any form submitted would trigger this. You don't want any form. What if you had a form on your website, right? And then you hit save here. It would trigger everybody that even filled out a form on your website that had nothing to do with the webinar, and they would get all these invites for something they don't know what you're talking about, okay? Potentially they could get that. Okay, so what you want to do is filter it. You say, okay, not just any form. I want the form is this specific one. And then I would find that form. So 3/28 opt-in form. Got it. That's the one. I hit save. Now I'm not going to hit save because it's already there. But that's how I got this trigger. So you see, let me tie it together. I'm on a webinar page. I've built this page. I showed you where that's built. I embedded it on the pop-up, the form. But I'm not done. Remember, I need these 3 things. I need a form, the page, and the workflow. So then after I embedded it, there's the form. I built the page. Now I need a workflow that says, hey, when that form's submitted, trigger these things. Now I'm not going to go into all these things and how it's built, but that's how this sucker's tied together, guys. This is what it takes. This is why people, yes, is it hard? Yeah, it's hard to think through stuff like this at first. It's pretty easy to think through it. You do this 3 to 4 times. Again, because it's not programming language, it's just a flow of how to think and learn where the point and click. That's the only learning curve you have. It just takes a few times watching a video like this and going through these tutorials that we have inside of CRMX that will help you do this. Now, yeah, the shortcut would be hire a team or somebody who knows how to do this. Pay them good money because they're going to want good money. They're the ones that learned to do this for you, and so they don't just do this for free. You understand? So you either pay somebody to do it or you can learn and understand it as well. Depends on what you have. If you have more time and less money, use your time to do this. If you have a lot of money and less time, use your money. Either way, this is needed. This is what's required to build automations. And in this specific case, to build something like this, it takes a few automations. By the way, I wasn't done. That was just to register and get them to attend, right? So I did a webinar outreach, and then I said when they register, confirm and remind them. And then I wanted to, there is another workflow that says when they purchase this, also confirm. So I built another workflow that had a different goal that says if they trigger, the trigger is an order form submission, not a web form or just a regular form. This is if they order something. Go ahead and tag them as a customer, note that they're a customer, update stuff, send out some confirmation saying congrats, this is awesome, blah, 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 right? So you can go as complicated as you want on all this. The point is if I went back to here, right here, and you wanted to run a 5-day challenge or a webinar or something they opt in for and they need to attend, that's how you put it all together. Pretty cool, right? It's actually, if you like this kind of stuff, it gets fascinating on how to build this, write the copy, how to take them from each goal being really triggers our goals, right? Like that's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, first goal, I want them to see this page. Great. So you create a campaign or a workflow that gets them to come to this page. Second goal, I want them to click and fill out this form. So when they fill out that form, that becomes a workflow because it triggers the next thing. Third goal, I want them to attend. Now that, you don't have to do much, you just want them to attend, okay? If they attend, I want them to buy. Now, if they buy, I want an order form that they go to. They click an order button and they buy. So you see how this all ties together with different workflows? I hope this makes sense, guys. I hope it's helpful and it's stirring up some ideas in your business that you can actually go and build this. It doesn't matter if you're a home service company that people are just opting in for a free quote. It works the same. Or if you're a coach and consultant running webinars and 5-day challenges where you want them to opt in, get value, and then buy at the end of that free value you're giving them, this all is the same process. It's made up of forms, funnel pages, and workflows or automations, and you're automating the process so you can just put this sucker on repeat, repeat, repeat. That's the power of doing these automations. All right, hope you enjoyed this, guys. Until the next one, have a great day.